Let's get that in there. Doobry doobry. Let's wait for the feed to catch up. A little bit early. So this watching on a watch back thing. There we go. Let's check the zoom. Let's zoom a little bit more, or maybe not that much. Oh. It's going to get dark a sec, and then it's going to go bright again. Let's go. Dark a sec, and then it's going to go bright again. That's the wrong one. There we go. And there we are. That's right. There's new lamp involved. So that was new lamp technology. New lamp involved. So that was new lamp technology. Oh, let's stop the. Let's switch off the other speakers so we stop in 3DO sound. Evening, Kubla. Mr. Clonk. Kubla to his friends. All friends here. Evening, Nick. How goes it? So how are we doing, shipmates? As you can probably tell, I've purchased a new lamp and everything looks really mega bright. I think it's affected the... Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot to put the switch the speakers off. My apologies, Nick. It was going into that Inception mode, wasn't it? Where we... Will the sound ever end? Let's just get some... Get myself completely set up. That's right, I was a bit naughty. I raced back and had a bit of a jam with our guitarist earlier. So, right, to work. Right after a slurp of this coffee. Okie dokie. Tonight's little paint along is Vagn the Fearless. Code SHVA12. And here's the handsome chappie himself. Really, really cool mini. Okay, so the body is in one piece. The spear comes with the hand attached to it, and there's a little hole in the hand and a bit of lead to pop in it, so it's kind of self-rodding, as it were. There's a little rod on the back of that as well, and a hole there for the Seax or Dirt. No, Dirt Scottish. I think that might be a Seax. I'm prepared be told what it is at some point. Okay, so yeah, he's one of the alternative Joms Viking warlords. The main one in the box is he's quite a big chunky old fella. And this guy, Vagn the Fearless. He technically is fearless. Now on the Griffin Beast website, there's a really nice paint job on this one on their website. So he's done all the nice patterning around the bottom and such. So we're going to use him as a colour guide, but we're not going to go to the level he is on the website because that's a real top paint job with lots of blending, etc. So we're going to do our usual hatchet job of a paint job. It's all right, I'm nattering at the start so I can get my coffee drunk before I start painting, because otherwise I'll forget. And the neck get cold. Oh my god. Not the man flu. There's a lot of it about. It's not good. We're doing Vagn the Fearless. He's not afraid of man flu, I don't think. Really nice mini, this one. It's I suppose you could put a shield on his hand if you wanted to. But he's fearless, so he doesn't need a shield. Yes, right. Let's get painting. Why Rich is still alive. Let's start with Moonstone Skin. Yeah, it's lurgy season for sure. So Moonstone Skin, bit of medium in there. Let's turn the tray around so it's medium's in a nicer place. Yeah, I think the new lamp seems to, it's got a higher, is it Kelvin? I don't know. The sort of light range it goes to. So I was reading about is you need it in the daylight bulb area, so it's more of a blue cold light. So my other lamps weren't quite cutting it, I don't think, especially on the videos. And I think as we put the colours out, you should see them better, hopefully. It'd be interesting what it makes of the more white rich colours. It should take some of the glow out. It certainly does in the light box. So yeah, that was my treat for me. My other lamps are good, but this one's, yeah, colder temperature. You got it. I think it's something like 6,500 the range, and it starts a lot lower, doesn't it? And the lower ones are like warmer colours, which I found out in my light box when I was trying to take some pictures for the beasties, and I couldn't get them to look right on a white background, so I had to change the lamp settings around, which is when I then realised that I needed a new lamp. Hey. I think it does look better. It looks better on the screen. Hope it looks better for you guys. You just keep that medium going. Get a nice. So I'm just going to use the base colours on the warlord to drop the batch of minis off to the Beastie Boys yesterday. They were very, very busy. I think they've got updates on their computer going on Monday. So if you do try and order something Monday, there's going to be some sort of delay on that. As these things do. I'm just looking over and running a little bit of extra fleshy bits on there as we go. Okay, next we're going to move the box I put in the way of my screen. I'm going to open a can of. So finish the coffee, might as well go straight onto the caffeine drink. Make it more interesting show. Okay, so we're going to go with Angel Green, which is very dark green. Now, the groovy thing about this green is, if you put it on your wet palette, and then we're going to really put quite a bit of medium into it. So what I do is put it in a brushful at a time and stretch out the paint on the palette. Hopefully in the new year I shall have some different cameras so I can set one up on the palette as well. Yeah, I think they wanted it all done before any sort of Christmas and rush kind of thing. Well, that's getting close to. So okay, so back to the painting. So you can see that's quite thin, that green, so you can just about see through it. I'm just keeping the medium in there, and I'm doing it thin because this dark green, when you do it thin over this zenithal undercoat, it does an amazing job of letting the under shade through. I did offer to help them with their computer, but it was firmly decided that my help was not needed in the IT problems of Gripping Beast, which is probably, considering my track record with you guys, is probably a sensible idea. And I wasn't offended in any way. So as you can see, that very thinned out green that you're using there, that is allowing that grey to stretch the colour. And you're going to get this very a stronger darker green is only going to be the areas of shadow. There we go. So next I'm going to use another green. I'm going to use these, they go up to sort of teals and stuff, this one. So we're using this one, Scarab Green, which is a dark bluish green. Again, I'm going to run quite a bit of medium in there, but not quite as much as the last one. There is actually a kind of band to do the, like a hem around the bottom there to do your fancy patterns on. As you see, I've got plenty of medium running through that, so I'm just going to move that paint around and let that undercoat do some work for us. There we go. So next we got this padded thing. They used like a green, off green colour. I'm gonna go for more of a sort of middle-agey sort of padded armour there. So we're starting with Dusty Skull. I'm talking about like ancient chivalry stuff. So I was speaking to the beasties yesterday, and they wanted me to do a few, because there's obviously the new Age of Chivalry's coming out. So I've got a load of front rank miniatures for the next kind of paint alongs. But I thought what I would probably do with I've got a couple of gigs coming up on a Friday, so I'm probably going to miss our regular live slot. I'll keep you guys informed. So what I thought I would try and do is a couple of how to paint ones, but do them recorded. So go through like this kind of staged ones like I did at the start. I thought that'd be quite useful for the Age Chivalry ones. If I could, like, for the next couple of weeks, not do a live one, do a recorded one, because everything goes a bit kibosh in December, doesn't it? And hopefully as well we can sort out this landscape problem, so I can actually start putting the links up to the live paint along again, because it's really affected our ability to let people know, really. It's a bit of a pickle. So that's what's going on going forward, I believe. I think some new Saga starter army boxes are being printed up at the moment as well, which is cool. So that's all going on, really. Just thinning this a little bit on the wet palette, just so it's, to be honest, there's so much white in that fawn colour, it's going to have massive coverage anyway, so you're not going to make it transparent. But it's just about keeping it thin so we don't hide any detail. Yeah, so the next few weeks, hopefully, the subjects are going to be, let's just grab them out. I left them over here so we could have a quick look. We've got, in no particular order, these, and I'm going to do like a few on each video. So there's 100 Years War archers, which are just as good they're good for pretty much anything, the War of the Roses, whatever. That's good. And then the dismounted men at arms, I know, again, I'll split these out to 6 in there. They're going to be split differently for the sagas, because you can have probably 8 archers, because they'll be warriors, won't they? And there'll be like 4 of those, because they'll be half guard. So I'll split them up and do different paint jobs. And then we got this pack as well, which is Henry V, Earl of Oxford, and John Cheney, servant with palfrey. So there's all sorts going on in that pack. And some mounted medieval noblemen by the front rank, which is very sexy and cool. But I thought, rather than try and do a whole packet of those or split them up into a weird, I'd split them up into videos that make sense. So I'll probably take a break from the live, maybe do one over Christmas or something. Okay, so his body armor there, they've done like a woody effect. I'm going to do that one as metal. metal. Because that's what I want to do. And he's my miniature, so we're going to go for gunmetal. We'll get that on early so we can put our washes and that into it. That goes into the dry palette. Not putting metallics onto a wet palette because that's a bad idea. We're going to use a crappy brush. We're going to just put a bit of medium into our brush so it's not dry, because that helps the paint flow a bit better. We're just going to get that in there. Where we're going to put plenty of wash and that over, it's going to be like very dark in there anyway. So but again, if you wanted, you could do like a wood effect in there. I can never decide whether that should be wood or leather or the cabal, isn't it? Boiled leather. No, it's not. It's Kerbal. Same thing, I suppose, just pronounced differently. Probably one of those two will maybe be right. Kerbal. I always said Kerbal. I've heard it said cabal as well. I'll have to ask Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob would know. Okay, so that's the base of our metal on. Let's deal with the flesh. We're going to go for Speed Paint 2 Crusader Skin. A little drop of that in there. I'm using the rubbishy brush again. We're just going to use that as our flesh wash, because that's how I roll. That's using just the flesh bead paint. If you just wanted to use just speed paint on it, I like there's a peach. Is it peach? I can't remember. I think it's peach. I think that looks better just over the white than this one, if you know what I mean. This reminds me more of their old flesh wash. The new Fanatic flesh wash hasn't got enough red in it for me, but apparently they're bringing out the old one again, because they're doing Army Painter are doing a load of extra packs. They're doing John Blanchard is doing a pack. So leather wise, we're going to do Brigadier Brown. We're going to do a bit medium. We're going to do his boots. He's licking his foot, which sounds horrible. Beats him snoring, I suppose. Sounds like some weird swamp monster or a 70s Doctor Who monster, isn't it? And we've got this brown up. We're going to do his belt. If you want it to look different, you can go for that reddy coloured one. Carrying pouch behind him there. I think I will. Yeah. I know he changed the flesh wash. He went back to the original flesh wash, I think. That was one of the ones I was reading about. Yeah, I mean, they've done a pretty fair job, really. There's good painters involved in developing the Fanatics range. The only one I wasn't keen on is the base to the red colours was a bit squiffy, because they started the base colour for the red as Basilisk red, which is very pinky purple, whereas I used to always use this one. This was the original War Paints one. They still had a few kicking about at one of the stalls, so I've bought about 4 of these. I like that as a base colour to my reds. It was supposedly the same as this, they said, but as you can see, tonally it's just way off. So I keep a little pot of that over there. Can't please everyone. I'd say it's not that they're a bad start for red, because I do sometimes paint up from that colour as red, but it gives you a much it's almost too rich a red sometimes, going from that red, whereas going from that more browny base is yeah. That's supposed to be the one that's the equivalent. There was another one that they said may be equivalent. I think it was that one, which is nowhere near. I think they were just woofing up a tree there, as it were. Okay, let's start with these sleeves. Let's go for some white. We're gonna start with worn stone. I mean, the amount of paints they brought out, they're never going to keep everyone happy. And when you get to a certain thing, it's like they've got some lovely browns, but still missing that. There was an old GW and Hombrol paint, and it was called Bestial Brown, I think, and it was like a very, it was kind of along that look, but wasn't. I can't really explain it, but I can't find another paint similar to it. Then Bestial Brown changed in colour to be more like that in the end. But hey, things change. You just got to find things that work, really. Otherwise, mix them yourself. There's a paint company I really liked using this stuff. Instar, and you bought the kind of base colours and you mixed them yourself, basically. Now they were really nice paints. And if I was just painting just for me, I think I might be tempted by that, but also let's sort the dog up. He's been an idiot. Go and lay down. Go and lay down. Go on. Go and lay down. Sorry about that, chaps. Yeah, so yeah, Instar paints, you kind of buy the more primary colours than the mixed ones, which is fun, but if you're really organised, like a couple of my friends are, and they write down all their recipes, say in their little recipe books, that works. But when somebody's coming back to me and they want some more, I don't know, Romans that I've painted, and we're using the same, I've got to try and use the same paint, if you know what I mean, to get a consistency. So if you come back to me and I'm doing some Romans with the red. I know I'm using the reds I've got. That's why I stopped buying. At first I had like a Vallejo, and I'd have the paints I liked from each brand. So I had a big mixture of paints, which is the best way forward, I think. But I had to try and find a consistent paint line. Yes. Yeah, sorry, people. I've just seen your things. His paints. I mean, I messaged him about his paint when he was just redoing them all, and that oxide red is really, really, really good. There's one of his fleshes that was really good as well. His stuff's brilliant, but so I say I've not got time to fiddle around. Yeah. What you need, Rich, is get yourself a nice colour wheel. Order a colour wheel. Go on Amazon now. Treat yourself. Yeah? You see how that works? It's easy, isn't it? So orange, add in blue is going to take you down the browns. And then this will give you complementary colours. That's a bit more complex, but that's what you want. You can make yourself one, but I think they're only about, I think that's about £1. It's handy to have there sometimes when you're trying to find a colour you got in your mind that you want to put on the miniature. Nice. Yeah, so it's cool. Sorry, the dog's just come over for a hello. Don't lay down then. You got to lay down. Sorry about that. Yes. So, let's see. I'm going to use some Tundra Taupe, which is deep olive brown. Keep our green theme going. I'm going to do that as wraps around his legs. So yeah, good coverage on this one. Yeah, so hopefully I can get the Age of Chivalry war bands together. I'm going to try and paint them in quite sort of generic-y colours, so you can use them for more than one warband, which I think is going to be the draw for this next book, really. a nice base to work from on his leggings. And then we'll grab the deep grey. Just laying all those base colours in at the moment, really. Just let's work them out a bit. This is for the wolf pelt that's around his neck. Again, we just probably swap brushes here to one where the tip's gone, because it's that sort of chainmail rough kind of thing. So just watering on that grey a bit and just let it work into the details of the fur. It's quite roughed up, so it's cool. With that grey thin, we're gonna run a bit of wash over it and a bit of highlight on that. So just going to go back round without adding any more to the brush, just take some of the paint off. There we go. And then we're going to grab oak brown for his spear. He's done a really nice job of a pine looking spear on the other one, but we're going to slightly easier than that. Also got enough brush should be alright for this one. Yeah. Again, you can do a bit of mixing on the wet palette as well if you're that way inclined. Very simple. It's good for blending if you want some really smooth blends. Three colours out and just then make the one in between and what have you. Good luck getting it consistent if you're trying to do it that following time, you know what I mean? Okay, so that's good. So now let's do his base colour of his hair. Should we start with let's start with resplendent red. Let's give him a real orangey redhead. Joms Vikings are the ones, if you're going to go OTT and go a bit comic book, I think they're the ones to go for, the Joms. So we're gonna, don't worry about it looking a bit carrot top at the moment. We're gonna work with it. This is just our base to work from. Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, when you read the the joms, Vagn, the sagas. You know, they're the ones, aren't they? They're the out of everything, they're the ones that embody the game saga, aren't they? Really. In the TV show Vikings, isn't it? That when they're the big Viking that gets caught in the French castle, and they're going to cut, and he asks him to hold his hair, and he pulls the guy. That's from the Joms Viking saga, isn't it? So it looks a bit OTT at the moment, but we're gonna sort that out. I just wanted that strong, really orange base to it. Just whenever I see a Joms Viking, I think they need to be that sort of OTT kind of stuff. So that's our base colours in now. We kept them with the medium, we kept them thin, we've kept them neat and tidy. So anything you work from this point is a bruty bonus, I think. Because if you chuck that on the tabletop at 3 feet away, that's going to be good enough for a soldier in the line. But we're doing a warlord here, so we're going to do a little bit more work. First of all, though, we're going to grab our dark tone. And that's for the metal on there. Again, it's totally up to you whether you decide that's not metal, if that's going to be made from something else. It's on the spear tip. I'm also going to put some on the wolf pelt, stole, whatever. Yeah. And then we're going to grab some soft tone. We're going to hit these brown areas of this. It's good for toning stuff down and making it just a little bit dirty looking as well, this soft tone. So anywhere brown, we're just going to hit that over with this. I'll also put that on those green leg wraps we've done, because that'll work the brown into the green. We'll just knock a bit onto the spear shaft as well. And then we're going to take some of that soft and we're going to put it into another, and we're going to bore it down with our medium. And then we're going to hit the white sleeves of it. Because remember, that's worn stone at the moment. We're going to leave it like that for a sec. We're going to go back and take some off in a sec. Anywhere you put too much on that, we've got too much on the spear, and we're just going to wick it away. What I'm doing there is dipping the brush into it, taking some off, putting it back into the palette. Anywhere where there's any pooling, you can just wick it away a bit. Any bubbles you see, if you go too fast you'll get bubbles. We'll take them off as well. As you can see, this is the watered down one now. We've done for the sleeves. Now there's too much on the sleeve there at the moment. It's too brown, so all you do, wash your brush out, get a bit of pure medium in the brush, and just add a bit of medium to there before it dries. You've got kind of 3 or 4 minutes, maybe even 5 working time with this stuff, this weather. If it's too hot, it will dry a lot quicker, which cuts your working time. Just adding medium to this, moving it around until just that little faint brown is just sitting into the grooves. Yeah. So now it looks white again. It's just using the medium just to move it around us. All right. Oh, I'm just gonna have to grab the door a sec. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. Sorry about this, guys. Sorry about that. Hopefully we won't be disturbed again. Right, where was I? Nothing happened. Nothing went on when I was away. You did all behave yourself, didn't you? Okay. So let's... Next is hair. I'm just going to grab Cassandra yellow. I hope you're keeping an eye on everyone for me, Rich. Maybe you want some ringleader and you're covering up. So getting all these washes on in order to give them a chance to dry. Swig. Okay, next we're going to start working our greens. So, sounds like a health kick, doesn't it? So we've done angel green. So the next one is guardian green. Maybe this one's brighter. We're still going to keep it watered down. Our medium. And we're going to do our peak and valley. So everything that's facing upwards. I'm not going to go right in. Start a little tiny bit back. And if you look at this fold here, we're going to stay on the peaks, leave the valleys. So that peak on the top of that one. But we're going to leave the crease. We're going to work down and back. So that bit of valley there is going to stay quite original colour because it's quite deep. And then we're going to come in on the top of that peak, but not go into the valley. Remember, you've got to think about the light coming down onto it. Again, across the top of there. And again, this next one, we're going to the peak, we're going to the top side where the light's catching. And work back. So there's a bit of a lump up there, so we're going to come down there and a bit towards the bottom. So you can see pretty clearly where I've left. And we'll just do a little run along that edge. And under there, we'll leave that completely the original green. Then we do the inside here. Again, we've still got peaks and valleys. So this is going to be a peak, isn't it? So the light's catching in there. But it's not going to catch underneath his armpit. So we're going to kind of follow the shape of where his arm is. Working back towards the edge. And if you look, the top of that is going to be green. But under there is not, because it's shaded by that kind of flap over. So we're going to work up to there, then stop. Can you see? Yeah, this light's really good. You can actually see the difference in the light values, which is good. Okay. So we do that one. Next we'll go back to our teals. The next one from Scarab Green is Temple Gate Teal. This is for the bottom of his tunic. Again, you've got to think about this as well, because there's going to be no brighter colour right up against the edge there, because the padded armour is going to throw a shadow, so we need to start a little way off of it. And work thin, looking for peaks and peaks and valleys. We decided valleys, didn't we? Leave little gaps. There we go. Bit more medium in there. And we're going to do the same along that band. So we're going to leave we're going to try and catch the top edge of that band. There his knee's going to be quite solid to the bottom there. Just look where the valleys and the peaks are. Try and paint the top of the peaks, leave the valleys. And every so often just take it inside a little bit, but we want to leave, you see the dark bits I've left there. Let's have a look on the back. So again, you want to leave going too tight up into the padded. Then you want to leave a bit before the top of that hem. As we come around the top of that hem, look for the high bits. Where it's over his knee, it's all going to be quite a lot lighter. And then as it gets to the edge of this cloaklet, you can see it's naturally throwing a shadow for us to look at. So we're going to stop on that peak there and leave the bit under there, the original green. I really like this. This light seems to be working really well. Cool. Okay. Let's go back to our green now. So we're third green in. We're going to go for green skin, which is a strong green. We're starting to really get into the highlights now. Again, we're going to get some medium, thin it out. Then we're going to go top edgelet. This is going, keep it nice and thin. Come across the top edges. So I'm just pulling little lines, going with the flow across the top of the high ridges, leaving gaps in it, working with that medium, making it nice and thin, not starting too high up into the recesses, not going too low into the valleys. Oh, Windsor Davis there. Again, hitting that top edge where the light's capturing. Using the fact of that green's nice and thin. You can always go back and put another layer on. There we go. See where it's wet. There we go. On the edge, just because it looks cool. It actually wouldn't be highlighted, but it looks cool. Again, thin it out. We're going to go for that ridge down there, and always stay inside the colour before. is your building up highlight. There we go. Let's go back, swap back to the teal. So the last one was Temple Gate. This one is Pharaoh Guard. It's probably going to be our last highlight on this because it's only a small area. A bit of medium in there. Just add it on. So wash your brush out, and then go back in and grab a bit that's been thinned. Otherwise, you've still got a lot of pigment in your brush. Right, so I'm just going to look for the highest areas now. It's just over the top of his knee there. Keep his lines nice and thin across the top of that hem. If you wanted to go for, like they've done on the one on the website, and you wanted to do funky little patterns in there, I'll just paint all that base green and then do it over top of that, rather than go to all the trouble of shading it out. Okay, so let that dry off. Next we'll have a look at this padded armour. So we started with Dusty Skull on that one, didn't we? So next one is Tomb King Tan. Thin it out with a bit medium. And we're going to stay in the top edges of this padded, so we're going to just highlight the top edge and almost doing like a, if you've got a rectangular box, my screen, and we put the brush on across that section I'm just about to paint, the top section to my left, so the top left corner to the bottom left corner to the top right corner, are the bit we're going to highlight. Yeah, so we're going to look at that middle one, that middle rectangle. We're going to make our light source be hitting it from this angle, because that's how we've caught it on the cloak. So we're going to start painting down the side there, and then across the top, and then we're going to slowly work our way across, and we're going to leave that. See, we can't really see it, unfortunately. I thought you might be able to. Yeah, it's just about showing up now. So you got that higher highlight in that corner and just shadow in that corner. And again, we do it the same on there. We're going to highlight that edge. We're not going to go into the pelt. And then we're going to just highlight around the edge of that cuff. That top bit's going to be highlighted. It's right out in the, and then as we get to that bottom one, it's only going to catch the top edge of that. So we're going to go right across the top edge. A little tiny bit on the bottom. And same this side. but now it's catching from the other side. So that one actually would be in shade, and it'd catch a little bit on that top corner, and most of the highlight would actually be, strangely enough, on that back edge. Just remember, it's catching it across that side, and his arms coming forward into the light. So it will be, if that's the rectangle that side, we'll be doing bottom right corner, top right corner, and bottom left corner. Does that make sense? Please, someone tell me that makes sense. And then that one will catch just in there. Just think about where your shadow is going to fall, basically. If you get them, if you highlight them all the same, it will look weird, and you won't know why. Do you know what I mean? If you just do them randomly, after a little while of thinking about it, you just start doing it. And a good way to do it is to take where your lamp is as where the sun is. So my lamp is slightly offset to my right. So I should really be doing it that way, but I'm actually doing it this way as the sun's come in. As long as you've got it in your mind, it'll work for you. Yeah, so there, it'll be very bright on the top bit. I've done the top left, bottom left, top right. Realistically, you'd go down and then round, but it's going to catch along that top edge, but not right up under there. Then a little bit down, and then it's going to catch that. When you're doing the miniature painting, it's not exact science, so it's whatever looks right at the scale. So as we turn the miniature around, the shadow will actually be changing on the miniature anyway in real life. So our mind will be thinking, well, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong. But if it's kind of right at scale, it accepts it. If that's not too much waffle. So if we look at the ones on his legs, and the sun's still coming from this way, this big panel here will catch it just underneath where the overhang of the armor is, and down that side of that panel, going across into there. But it won't get it on the, it would have got it in that back section, but there's too much in the way. So much other alternate shadows. This back one here will catch a bit like that. I'll put a bit on the belt, hang on a sec. Try and keep yourself clean and tidy as you go along. There we go. And then, of course, because the bottom of that area is up a little bit, you still got this scabbard up, be throwing shadow as well. So just do a little touch in there just to give the idea that there's a shadow highlight going on. It's like going up under there, that's very shadowy under there, so we're gonna just do a little bit under there just to give it a tip of the hat to the fact that we're trying to be realistic. And after all, I've just painted his hair orange. So again, the light's coming across, so across here we'll catch the back edge of whatever he's wearing there before it throws a shadow behind him. So all these technically would be in shadow, but because we're spinning the miniature around, they come into shadow, come into light again. So just do a bit of random highlight. I did have a discussion with a proper artist about this. Painting in 3D is quite a weird thing. He was showing me how to do the highlights on a flat piece of paper to make them look 3D. And in a way, as a figure painter, we're doing it kind of weird because we keep changing the position that our eyes are looking at. So we might hold the miniature like this, then like this, and like this, and we want it to look good from all angles. So this is hopefully what I'm trying to get across. So let's work some of these greys up. So we've got deep grey on there. We're going to go next up to uniform grey. We put a black wash over that as well, a dark tone. We're going to thin this, but not as thin as the other ones. And again, we're going to look for highlights in the fur, so the top of its head there. I'm just tapping the brush down and lifting off to give it some sort of texture. So we're just looking for I'm going ever so lightly and just tapping the brush onto the fur, so those highlights, I'm highlighting the details. So I'm kind of doing, not dry brush, I always used to call it over brush because my brush has got wet paint in it. So I'm just going lightly. I'm just trying to paint those top ridges. Just working around. This is pretty much all over, but I just want to work those higher ridges. I'm a bit more selective of our next grey. Okay, so we've done worn stone, so we're going to do the sleeves next with brain matter beige. Again, we're going to think about highlights again here, highlights and shadows. White's a bit tricky. Cloth doesn't really throw shadows, but it gets folds in it, so it's the same thing. Yes, we're going to add a bit of medium. I'm going to start on the top, so the top third of his arm there, because he's got his arm out into the light. We're going to just do that. So we're going to come across the top there and just let it go, let it drag around a bit, and then we're going to have a look at the side and think we're going to have a little bit there. We're just looking for any high ridges basically, and I've gone round to about halfway down and I'm just letting the odd one straggle. Again, come around to this side, looking for the high peaks, and then you can see there's quite a sheer bit on the arm. I'm not going to go around there because that's in shadow. Again, around that top edge, that's going to catch lots and lots and lots of light. As it comes back round here, it's not, so we're going to stop. It's under shadow, under the spear, this top edge of his cuff there, but not the bit underneath where the spear is. Top edge of that peak, top edge of that peak, a little bit in there. That's it, that's all we're going to do there. Next we're going to do a little bit of flesh. Is agate skin is the next one up. You could go back in with the moonstone because we have washed it. If that's where you wanted, that's a quick way to do it. But we're going to just brighten him up a bit. So we're going to drop a little bit of medium in our brush. So we're going to paint across where his eyebrows are, but not going up to the hairline. And then we're going to paint down his nose, across his cheek bones, and then we're going to grab where his mouth is, and then he's got a very good haircut around his ears, so we're going to catch the top of his ear Going around the back. To the top of the ear. Then I'm going to put it down the back. Then on his hand. Top of his hand is right in the sun, so we're going to go from his knuckle, or up to his knuckle as it were, then back down his hand, leaving gaps in between to show like the gaps in the back of your hand. On top of his thumb, and then we're going to come down his fingers a little bit, or we're going to leave a gap between the knuckles. Go the next knuckle, and a little tiny bit on the end. So we kind of left a little gap just to show there's a difference, and it makes the highlight work. So again, he's got his fist clenched there, so we're going to take each knuckle separately. 1, 2, 3, 4, but not all the way along that finger to the middle section. Then in the middle section, we're going to just dab on. You don't want to go down into the valleys there. We want to leave that nice and dark. And then top of his fingers, we're just going to do a little dot on the end. That's how we're going to make our highlight word. And dot on top of the thumb, a little bit on the base. It would all be in shadow in there, but we want his fingers to ping, you know what I mean? So that's what we do there. Okay. So you can go back round again with the same flesh and just strengthen little bits up by staying inside where we've already done. So like on the face, instead of going right across his brow, we can just do a little tap on the top. Just to maybe flesh it out a little bit, flesh it out. And then on his nose, you could sort of start halfway down it. There we go. His cheeks. So wherever we highlight, whenever you highlight, you're staying inside the highlight you've put on before. So next, let's look at his padded. We're going skeleton bone. Just got a little bit of a dry top. That's it. Fine if you give them a little good old shake it generally. Don't do what I saw earlier. Don't press them harder, and if they've got a little bit dry in there, have a little pin or something. Yeah. Where's my pin gone? That's not good. My pin is pinned. There we go. That was being an awkward little bugger. So again, this is just the highlight of this. So we've already established where our highlights is, and we've just got to stay inside them. So just little touches inside the areas we've already done. Less is more when this is happening. So we're taking it up to next extreme level. So stay inside that last highlight. Don't start covering up other bits, because that's naughty. If you want to do that, do it, but they're merely suggestions. I'm merely telling you how I'm painting. Everyone does stuff different. And if you can glean anything that I say makes sense to you, good. So when I went around the sleeve, then I didn't do all the way. I left gaps in between. So in between, highest highs, you want a bit more in. The rest just quick dab. There we go. Just working around, looking for the highest areas and just highlight those. Good. Good-o. I like this mouldy wine as grips to swords. I think it's probably a bit later than this guy, but I just didn't want to use another fawn sort of colour. There we go. Okay, so our green's highlights. So the next one to look at is these leggings. A Tundra taupe, and we're going to go for dark yellowish brown prairie ochre. That's the only highlight we're going to put onto these. I mean, his legs are pretty much in the shade anyway. So I mean, there's going to be no highlights on the front because his legs are just not facing the sun. So it's only kind of that sort of area that's going to be in the sun, and a little bit down there. You can actually see the lamp's actually throwing some beautiful demos of where the shadows are. So thin that out a bit. Again, a little bit of highlight on there. Come around a little bit there. A little bit on the front edge. Well, it's going to be the bottom edge, funny enough. But it's not going to go too far back because you can see where that shadow is. And again, on the front there, you can see the shadow is going to be like a curve. But we don't want to go too far up to the hem, and we don't want to go too far underneath. A little bit on the front there. Even though there'd be no highlight there, it just sort of ties them together as you're turning the miniature. Otherwise your brain will just sort of see a really harsh edge. You don't want that. You don't want a harsh edge. No one wants a harsh edge. Okay, so we're gonna go. Let's grab a bit of silver, and gunmetal grey. Sorry, gunmetal silver. Ugh. We'll just put a bit on the end of the dagger. So that's the. Oh, we're happy with the greens. Let's do the leather. So the next one is bootstrap brown. No, hour and 24 we're in at the moment. Giving it a bit more juice because this is a warlord. So again, we're looking at top edge, top of his boot, across the top of his foot there. But I'm leaving the creased bit in the dark colour, and just on the top edge. Then you leave a bit because obviously there's a fold over. Put on his heel. There we go. So we're letting that lot of that dark brown stay. So it's going to be that top edge, his heel in these. At this side, his heel's out. So top edge. And as we go down the side, his own leg is shadowing his shoe there. So it's only ever going to get any light this side. Realistically, it wouldn't anyway because it's a cloak, but we're still going to put a bit on there. And then again, that one under there, we're going to go around the edge. I think you've got to decide, oh, well, that's not realistic, but you've got to go with the rule of cool. I think, well, I've got to make this interesting to look at. So I need things in there. So that top edge of that scabbard there, we're going to hit. And then maybe the bottom part there. Because the light's coming across it. So we get a shadow in that second kinky bit. Kinky. The kink. It's not kinky. It's not a kinky dagger. Okay. Next we're going to do a bit of work on the spear. So Tree Ancient is our next colour up. We did the other one with Oak Brown. We're going to take a bit on my brush, and what we're going to do is we're going to paint along the top, not too tight into his hand. We're going to leave the bit next to his hand, so we're just across the top at the moment. We're going to stop before we get to the head, so that little bit there and that little bit there we're not going to touch. Then we're going to come around the side and we're going to paint a line across, going no further than halfway down. Again, same at the back here. We're going to stop quite a way before the hand, so we're leaving that on the side, no more than a third of the, sorry, half the way down. Yeah, so you might have a few bits you've missed across the top there, but underneath it's going to look dark. And as you miss bits, it actually makes it start to look like grain as we build it up. So next we're going to go to Dryad Brown, because we haven't thinned these as much. They will dry quite quick. And if they're not dry, we're just going to get a bit of a wet blend anyway. So next we're going to grab a bit of this Dryad one, and we're just going to go start inside where we have, and we're just going to drag it like in an S shape or something down, and we're going to stay inside the colours we've already done, but we're not going to do a complete line. We're just going to drag a little bit, stop, drag a little bit, stop, pick the brush up, move it just inside the colours. It's handy if you can get your brush running the same way as the spear there. See what I mean? So we've oh, well, out of focus there. Come on, right. And then we're going to Fur Brown, which is the highest one we're going to go to. This is quite a lot lighter, so we're going to have to go sparing with this one. And a bit of medium in there, just on the very tip of our brush. We're just going to do a little line there. Line there. So it's kind of weird, but when it dries out, it works. Yeah. If you've got too many harsh shades, you can just put a bit of wash over it anyway. Okay, so next we're going to have a look at our wolfie again. So we did uniform grey, so we're going to do ash grey now, which is a light one. This is going to be our highlight for the greys. Now we've got to think where we're going to put it. So just a little bit on the tip of the brush. So across the top of the fox head, sorry, wolf head. I'm just going to dab it on, so we're giving it texture down the nosy bit. There we go. Then we're going to start just picking out random little high bits. Not too much, just little tiny bit. Start at the edge, then work in anywhere where there's anything overhanging, like his beard there. I didn't go up underneath that, I left that sort of shadowy. So up in there, we're not going to go. We're going to work towards the edge and work our way back in. So if you look, that was kind of like that triangle I've painted inside it. Again, there's another triangle there, look. That's the best way to describe it, look. And we're going to start at the back here and stay inside that triangle. So anything that, yeah, so just along the edges here, just up the edges there. Yeah. And that's the grey done. So we're looking at what we've done now. Well, let's do the leather. So we did bootstrap brown last time, so now we're on to leather brown. Leather brown for leather. Who would have thought it? Again. Staying inside, the highlights were already done. So a little bit on top of the boot. On top of his footlet. Just dabbing the brush down just a little bit. Just put in some little highlight lines. And the back of his heel, look. Just working across that high area, a little bit down the side and stop, and just a little on the tip. That's what it's going to get on his shoe. As we look at the scabbard as a better example, we're going to do that top edge. And then we're going to do the bottom edge, but not all the way along because that's a thin there. There's a little bit there that will be catching a little bit as well. There we go. And then it'd be the bottom edge of his belt, because the top edge is under the shadow of his armor. And then just the edge of that pouch at the back there. There we go. It is done. So now we're up to his head. The first thing about his head is his eyeballs. So let's get some pure matte white out. And we're going to get our psycho brush. Psycho brush. Where are you? There we go. Okay, here we go. Bit of medium in your brush. Pick up some nice white. Take some white off. There you go. That's one. Don't rush yourself. Oh, sorry, gone out of focus there. Sorry, guys. It's hard when you're doing something you got to focus so hard, you kind of lose track of what you. So, bit of black. That's our mixed one. It's already pre-thinned. Where's our little? Oh no, where's it gone? Oh, there it is. My little thing that I made out of green stuff to do the back of the pot. Again, get the brush wet, a little dip in the black, take some of the black out, and we're going to just do some little dots. On that side, there's actually a slight bubble in that white that's causing that black to go off. So let's just see if we can paint that out. Yeah, it's kind of like a tiny bit of lead that's thrown a little white bubble, making it look like there's another bit of black there. Of course, I put the eyeball in, it looked like he had an extra big eye. Not to panic. Yeah. Let's see if we can get to focus on his eyeballs. There we are. Alright. Been asked to do another mini video of eyeball painting. I thought I'd already done one, but I don't think I have, so I'll have to do it. It'll only be a short one because it don't take long to paint eyeballs. I'll have to make sure there's not one there already. I'm sure I did it. Okay, so while that's drying down, we're going to paint the base. We're going to go for our oak brown medium mix. Our cruddy brushes. To be honest, with the warlord being on the bigger base, I could have used a bigger brush. So basically that's the oak brown with lots of medium in it. And we have it nice and thin, so that base shows through, and we get like a nice kind of highlighty effect without having to do any highlighting, because why not save time? It took a while for that to dry today because it was not the warmest of weathers. So if you are putting this pumice on, leave it plenty of time to dry. When that dries, we can put some tufts on it. That'll be done. Okay, so it just leaves his hair to sort out now. I'll stop it looking a bit. It's quite bright. That's okay. Kind of what we wanted. So, next we start with that resplendence. We're going to go to angelic red, which is a strong red. So we're still going down that path at the moment. So it says it's a strong red, but this is actually orange. You wait until you see. It says it's strong red, but that's orange. I'm not sure what they were thinking about these reds. I'm not quite sure. So we're going to thin it out a little bit in the brush, and we're going to just pick out some of the peaks in the same way as the hair falls. And then around the top, we're going to do the front bit. Then we'll work round the top of the head like a halo, leaving the top bit unpainted. And drag it down the highlights to the sides. Okay. Leave that very orangey red in the very deepest, darkest places. Alright. So I'm going for a very cartoony look on this guy anyway. So next is legendary red, which is reddish orange, which is kind of hopeful. Might have to swap to one of the oranges here. Let's see. That should be right. I'm just going to stay on the edges. Just tap a little bit around the edges. Edge of his beard and his tash. A little bit going down his braid. Again, work around the top of his head in a halo. I can't remember the exact science behind that working, but it does. There we go. If it's too orangey for you, just throw a brown wash over it. It's a very light brown wash. Take some of that out of it. Usually I'd pick the silver up with the gunmetal silver. I'd pick up with a shiny silver, but I want it to stay. I don't want it to be brighter than that. So technically, he's done. But I think he just needs a little bit more punch for his pound. So I'm gonna take some green tone. And that teal, I want to get a little bit more shading into the top edge of the see the top edge there. I just think it will benefit from a little green wash. So we're gonna just slap some green wash on there. And because of the way that's sculpted, that's going to just sit into the places we need it to sit into. I'm not going to do it to the cloak because I'm happy with the cloak. And that's pretty much him done. You could, which is our brown wash. Oh, that's the brown wash. I'm going to just drop a little bit off. And that's the black one. That's that one. This soft tone, I'm going to just go over spear again. So it just blends those little S shapes in a little bit. There we go. I could show what happens with his hair as well if you like. Yeah, why not? So we're going to water it down a little bit. We're just going to put some brown into that hair. It just takes some of the orange glow off. I've thinned it out as well. If I was painting maybe Warhammer battles, I'd leave it very OTT. This brown is very good as well if you want to put a little bit of shadow around the edge of the faces when they've got a lot of hair. It really frames the face. Put a little bit into the eye sockets as well. Look. There we go. And he's pretty done. I didn't want to get too fancy with little lines and squiggles, blah 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 blah. So there's a really good example on the Griffin Beast website, and he's done a lovely pattern around the bottom of this thing, and it's a lovely bit of sculpting to do that with. But I don't want to do it on here. He put his spear a bit further around as well, so it's pointing down this way, but I wanted it up there. Personal taste. So let's have a look what we've got. Hour and 3/4. We have Vagn the Fearless. I think he's done, in fairness. He's that sort of figure. He's a nice figure without going too crazy with the little bits of detail. But there's plenty you can paint on there. But I just like that sort of no messing. He's Vagn the Fearless. He doesn't need a fancy cloak. He's got a green cloak. I'm quite happy with those blends. They look really pretty. As I said, that's a nice bit he's put around the bottom. The sculptors around the bottom. Yeah, some miniatures scream stop. He's screaming stop at me. Do you know what I mean? He's got his spear. It's a lovely miniature. No fuss. I think he makes a good hero in any army. Really, you could use him in anything, couldn't you? But I think on the Joms Viking sheets, he's a legendary warlord. I think. I may be wrong. I know he's the Joms Viking warlord. He'll give you extra bang for your buck in Saga. But yeah, pleased with that one. So I'm going to stop there. All he needs is some nice tufts. It's half the battle, isn't it? Cuba is knowing when to stop. From a distance, look, he's a really striking miniature, and he's got these lovely defined shapes. You can see from there what he is and who he is, which is what we wanted. And when he comes in close, he's got some pretty nice blends. So I think you're right, guys. I'll agree with you. I'll bow to your greater judgment. It's time to stop. So we'll leave Vagn the Fearless there. We'll just have a look at these front rank miniatures again. If you didn't join us till just now, this is tonight's miniature, Vagn the Fearless, from Gripping Beast for Saga. He's from the Joms Vikings. Yeah, you'd know he was Mr. Fearless, wouldn't you? Without him being too fancy as well. I say there's a lovely painted version. It looks like a Dara Livington one. He's a very, very good painter. So over the next few weeks, if I'm not live, my apologies. I'm going to try and upload some recorded stuff. I'll be looking at these front rank ones again. So grab yourself some front rank miniatures. We're doing these 100-Year War ones, but again, I've used them for War of the Roses. Basically, they're going to be for the new Age of Chivalry. And then you've got dismounted men at arms, which are going to be your half guard. And then you've got some medieval noblemen, which again, your knights, warlord stroke half guard, and this is the character packs. You've got Henry V, Earl of Oxford, John Cheney, Servant with Palfrey. So that'd be an interesting one. I'm going to try and break them into stuff to use for the new rules, so I won't be. Yeah, I'm going to break them down to make more sense. You know what I mean? If I try to do all the archers live, we're going to get a higgledy-piggledy mess. So maybe I'll paint 2 of them and show you how to do this, and then you know the score, guys. So watch out for me putting some good old-fashioned pre-recorded ones where pretty much the same format as I do on the live, but less gassing. So I'll be hitting the pause button and then stitching it all back together. Yeah, cheers. Yeah, they're lovely. The front rank stuff's lovely. I've been painting a lot of it recently for the box art and stuff, and they are those front rank miniatures. They slot so well into the Gripping Beast range. But I was painting some halberdiers yesterday, and it's like I was painting the face, and I noticed that the teeth had a gap in the front of the teeth. You know what I mean? So he had like a slight gap in the front of his front teeth. I was thinking, bloody hell! And I was able to paint that, and somebody sculpted it, and thinking that's amazing. And there was two of the men at arms I painted. I was actually able to paint the eyeballs. They sculpted the eyeballs inside the helmet slot. You know what I mean? That's just crazy. But what else? What other news has gone on? I think that's it, really. I think that is it. So I think it's time for me to just come 2 hours, which is good. We'll have a final look at Mr. Fearless. Now you can see his hair's calmed down a bit after I added that brown nut. So when I've put the matte lacquer over that in the morning, it's all shiny at the moment because that brown's got a bit of gloss in it. But he's going to calm down nicely. And I'll stick some tufts on him and take some photographs. So that's been our friend Vagn the Fearless for the Joms Vikings. So I haven't said it in a while. If you could like, subscribe, hit the notification bell until I get this portrait landscape thing sorted out. Yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. Have a jolly nice weekend. Get well soon, Rich. And I'll speak to you all again very, very soon. Speak to you soon. Good night, guys. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.